We're going to talk more about Chagee now. It's a premium tea brand that takes its inspiration from the international coffee chains. It was founded by Zhang Junjie in Yunnan in 2017. Since then, it's grown enormously, with more than 6,000 stores by the end of last year, an 83% increase on the previous year. Most of those stores are in China, but more than 150 are overseas. The company plans to open as many as 1,500 new stores this year in China and globally. Chagee is one of a number of tea brands in China, all targeting different markets. The Mishui Group is the top performer, with revenue of more than $3 billion last year. That's twice as much as Chagee and 2.8 times more than Guming. Now, Chagee has become the fastest growing player, with net profits nearly tripling to more than $1.7 billion last year. Zhang Junjie is the president and chief economist at Pinpoint Asset Management.
This particular subsector that Chagee is in, this new beverage subsector, I think been doing quite well in China over the past, say, 5 years. And investors have very strong confidence in this subsector to continue to perform very well. And so that's the confidence in that particular subsector that's reflected in the stock price. And other than that, I think part of the reason why it's doing well is because, this uncertainty related to the trade war that created investors are getting cautious about stocks with a lot of external exposure, right, with trade exposure, so that investors are shifting towards more domestic-driven, say, consumption names, so that this particular subsector also benefit from.
Well, bearing in mind that uncertainty and given these trade tensions between the United States and China, why do you think that Chagee chose to list on the Nasdaq then, not the Hong Kong exchange?
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I think this IPO process usually take a long time, so the decision must have been made quite some time ago before this trade war became it is today. I think the decision to be listed in New York rather than Hong Kong probably reflects the management's ambition to become a global brand, to go beyond Asia. I understand the company already had established shops in the region, in Southeast Asia, for instance. They probably have ambition to go, say, to the US, to Europe, and become a really global brand, compete with, other global companies like Starbucks.
The company has grown rapidly, hasn't it, since it was founded in 2017. What do you think's driven that success, and can the model translate well to the West?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. If you look at the subsector, I mean, there are actually quite a lot of companies like Chagee competing in China over the, quite many years. And I think what this particular company managed to succeed is that they really simplify their business model, right? So that they, a lot of their competitors, could come up with dozens of, different teas that make it very difficult to replicate, build more shops across the cities, because it's just so difficult to manage so many different product lines. Whereas this particular company only focus on a small number of tea products.
We've seen fewer Chinese companies listing in the US over the past year. Does Chagee's IPO signal a renewed interest in US capital markets, or is it more of an exception rather than a trend?
I think there's always interest among the Chinese, those top companies. They all have ambition to become, global brands, and certainly to be listed in New York help you to build your brand and, increase the value of your brand. So there's definitely interest among the Chinese companies. But I think timing is one issue that now, with the trade war ongoing, that some of the companies may have concerns whether this is the best timing to go. But definitely, I think a lot of the companies I know have the ambition and have the interest to be listed in New York.